the fuck up, samurai. We have a city to burn.
You disgust me.
Who gives a shit?
Go on.
I made it the fuck up.
I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm dead. It's glorious. And I run.
I'm sorry. I couldn't resist.
Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land. It's your T-shirted historian. Well, it looks like I'm flying solo tonight. Don't know where everybody is, but they ain't here. So, could be a short video tonight, but we'll see how we do. So, Saturday I announced that I had the flu when I was interviewing with Mark Reinhagen. And it turns out that is not the case, because a little bit later that evening, I lost my sense of smell and taste, which had only ever happened when I had the Asian virus of unspecified origin. So I immediately went and grabbed one of the little tests and did a testing kit and tested positive for it. So yay. So it kind of explains a lot of why I was having horrible headaches and, unproductive coughing, and then, eventually the loss of smell and taste, which still kind of persists even now. But I'm feeling much better overall. No more fevers, and I actually managed to get through an entire work day, and, I didn't collapse or hurt anybody or anything, so I guess that's a good thing. All right, well, since I'm running solo, I guess I can just kind of do whatever. So, why don't we start off with a little something fun? Because I'm in the mood for something funny today. How about, this kind of set the mood for everybody today. Seriously. I don't even know what you call it, but it looks like fun. I mean, is there a whole event around this, or what? It's just, boob bumping. I don't know. But anyway. Yeah, it was fun. Oh, Savo. T-shirt recommends some hard sci-fi graphic novels for you. Also, sorry about the we can't call it that on YouTube. We have to use euphemisms like the beer bug. You got it very early on. Yeah. I got it a few years ago, and this is another case of it. I don't know where I got it from, but I got it. It was fun. Let me tell you. Some hard sci-fi graphic novels. Well, I would suggest picking up the entire run of Heavy Metal. And before you think that that's not possible, it's the entire run of Heavy Metal has been digitized and is available, I think, through one of those websites where, they just sell big packages of stuff, like all the cyberpunk books or all of the, Heavy Metal books or whatever. it's the charity bundle stuff. I can't remember what you call it anymore. I haven't bought one of those things in a long time, and they haven't sent me an email in a long time. So the Humble Bundle, I guess. Yeah. There's a Humble Bundle that has all the heavy metals in it, but that would be my first go-to just for really great sci-fi, because you can see a lot of really good artists, and you can see a lot of different stories and a lot of art styles and techniques and everything. 6 from Sirius would be another one that I really enjoyed. See, hard sci-fi is kind of difficult. I don't do a lot of hard sci-fi as far as my graphic novels go. I mean, I'm kind of more of a Starjammers, Guardians of the Galaxy type doofus. But yeah, I mean, those would be my 2 prime recommendations. Maybe some old Alien Legion graphic novels would be good. I don't necessarily know that I'd call any of this stuff hard sci-fi, but some of it is harder than others, and it's all enjoyable, and it all has a variety of really good art styles. So that would be my top picks. You don't envy their back problems when you pass. Yeah, no kidding. It is a magazine. It was a magazine. I think it's still actually a magazine. I think they're starting to reprint it. But yes, it's all been digitized. It's all on PDFs, and it's all available through Humble Bundle. And I know this is true because I have it. Because I have physical copies of Heavy Metal laying around. But having it digital really kind of puts it all in one place for me. Also, old back issues of Epic Illustrated would really good too. So I'd recommend those. Again, your quality may vary with what you get, but those are my top picks. Epic Illustrated, Heavy Metal, 6 from Sirius, Alien Legion. Yeah. Some of the other folks in here, like Silverlock, probably have a lot of other ones that I can't think of right off the bat. I mean, you have to forgive me a little bit. I'm a little bit sick and addle-brained and under the influence of drugs, of the medicinal variety, not the recreational variety. Okay. So I have something good. I have something bad. I'll start with the bad. So I watched this week's episode of The Last of Us, season 2, and this is the episode. This is the penultimate episode. This is the one before the end of the season, and I already know that they're going to get into a season 3, and in fact, they've already greenlit a season 4, which I don't know how they're going to stretch it out. I mean, I can already tell you, season 3 is probably all going to be from Abby's point of view, just to get you to like that character. So when they finally clash in season 4, but whatever. It's so emotionally manipulative, but kind of in a recorded sort of way. You understand? So this episode was pretty much the big flashback episode, and it's like Pedro Pascal's last episode in the series. They already confirmed it. And it was actually directed by Neil Druckmann. And throughout this entire episode, I really enjoyed it. I mean, you get to see how Joel was with Ellie through all of her different birthdays and all the stuff that they did together, and the Museum Apollo rocket scene and everything. It was really beautiful, and it was really well done, and I really enjoyed it. But here's the kicker. I guess they kind of tried to make Joel seem a little less likable. Except for the fact that he's such a good guy, and you see how good he is to Ellie, and you see what a little absolute cunt she is to him throughout all the, through as she gets older, and why she's being that way. And it just makes you hate her that much more. So I think this episode actually did the opposite of what they were hoping. I mean, yes, are fans of the game going to enjoy this episode? Yeah. Are non-fans of the game going to enjoy it? Yeah. But all it's really going to do is make us miss Joel that much more and make us realize how big of an absolute cunt Ellie is now. How much of an unlikable piece of shit she is as a character now. It makes me hate her worse. It makes me want to watch her fail even worse. And when eventually, like all the gamers who played the game, get to the end and realize that she's not going to get her revenge, and she basically threw away every single thing that she had in pursuit of her revenge, and end up with nothing, actually end up with even less than when she started, they're going to be just as upset. The watchers, the viewers, the people who don't play the video games are going to be just as upset as those of us who actually know about the video games and have seen it and played it and understand how it ends. So all I can say is, enjoy this episode because it's the only good one in the whole season 2. But all it does is just reinforce my absolute disgust and hatred for Ellie. That's all it does. And it just makes me miss Joel that much worse. And it also showcases why you needed Joel and Ellie together and how they played off of each other and why it worked and why what they've got going now doesn't work and why it didn't work in the video game. And I'm sure Druckmann is, patting himself on the back while, somebody massages his prostate with something. But, sorry, dude. You shot yourself in the foot on this one. So, whatever. Yeah, Stainless Steel Rat is really good. I only read the books. I didn't know if there were graphic novels, Silverlock. But yeah, that was another one. Episode 1, the character Joel had a really sweet daughter that would have survived. Yeah. Well, I mean... But that's the thing, Savo. It's like Ellie more or less becomes Joel's surrogate daughter, and you really see it the strongest in this episode because he pretty much comes out and tells her that. And she's an absolute cunt the entire time. I'm not your daughter. I'm your partner. I don't need your fucking help. I don't know if I can forgive you. Like, fuck off. You wouldn't even be alive if it weren't for her. Or if it weren't for him. You're a piece of shit, Ellie. You're a piece of shit. You deserve to fail. You deserve to lose everything. Including your fingers, your girlfriend, and everything else. You deserve to lose by the time this series is over with. So when it finally comes, when the axe finally falls on you, I won't care. I'll be laughing and just say, hey, man, you got what you fucking deserved. Yeah, exactly. She's horrible. She's ungrateful. She's stupid and annoying. And I don't know how she's that stupid. How is she this stupid? Okay, she's been shown in the past that she can bandage up wounds, that she can kind of take care of herself to a little bit of a degree. And, she's been with Joel long enough for him to teach her a few things, but she can't do something basic like read a fucking map. Really? Are you serious? She can't read a map? She's that stupid. And yeah, she's annoying. She's absolutely annoying. In the game, Ellie is morose, withdrawn, just hell-bent on getting revenge for Joel. In this, she's like, haha, I'm here with Dina, and it's like a little road trip party where I get to indulge my lesbian behavior with my new girlfriend while seeking vengeance. And I'm just kind of like, the tonal shift in this season is so screwed up. Yeah, she does girl boss too close to the sun. Yeah, she's taking down full, 200-pound men and defeating them in hand-to-hand combat. And I'm just kind of like, no, that doesn't happen. And, oh, look, I found an Ironcaster.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
freshly showered, nice and clean. The car engine turned on, or the car engine light turned on, so I get to go check that out.
Nice. Did you, what, the battery bad or what?
No, I still have to do that.
Ah, okay.
I think I was tempting fate a little bit. I got an increase in my credit score, and then it turned around, and well, hey, guess what, Bucko?
Uh-huh.
Time to test it.
Yep. You want something funny? To kind of
Sure.
cleanse our palate between, because I'm getting off of my Last of Us episode rant. Which I don't know if you were here for it or not, or how much of it you heard, but yeah, it was actually a really good episode. It was the flashback episode where we got to see how awesome Joel was and why Joel and Ellie together worked really, really great. And it also, unfortunately, showed us why Ellie is an absolute cunt and a shitty character.
Okay, that's frustrating. All the best stuff is in the past, and we're going to keep highlighting that for a character we killed off.
Yes, exactly. Oh, and this episode was directed by Neil Druckmann. Yeah, no, it was a great episode. They had the museum scene where they get on the Apollo and everything, and she gets on the dinosaur. All that great stuff, all the great stuff that you loved, is in there. But all it does is just highlight how awesome Joel was and how awesome Ellie was when she was with Joel. So
well, I mean,
when they,
if anything, it seems to me that the issue isn't that it was Neil Druckmann writing it or directing it. It's that it was written through the lens of the political ideology, that the cult of woke, if you will, was the focal lens through which we had to push the story. And
right.
I'm sorry, but I can't think of any fucking stories that have come out of this particular school of thought that have been good. Can you?
Right. Not absolutely, but I am going to name one, because like I said, I told them I had a good one and a bad one. So I started with the bad one first. I'm going to get to the good one next. But first, let's have a palate cleanser. Yeah, no kidding, Savo. This is a little fun. We may get claimed for this, so if it's missing on the playback, it's because I had to delete it, so, you know. But, usual disclaimer. Here we go. Hopefully it won't be.
Dickheads land their spaceship and immediately get fucking vaporized like dumb bitches. Then two space wizards with discount bowl cuts sneak into some wet-ass fish dungeon and kidnap a hyperactive swamp ferret that speaks like he's been hitting the paint thinner. They steal a busted submarine, dodge 3 fucking sea monsters, crash the bitch anyway, and somehow don't die because physics went out for cigarettes. Next, they fly to Sand Hell, where they find a child goblin who's apparently the reincarnation of fucking Zeus, because he can drive a rocket-powered lawnmower. Instead of helping the crying mom, they bet everything on fucking baby Zeus winning intergalactic Mario Kart, and somehow he fucking does. Then a red devil crackhead shows up swinging 2 laser dicks, slices a wizard sandwich style, and rage quits into a giant hole. Meanwhile, the frog crashes into a robot army and accidentally wins the fucking war. Galaxy's still turbo fucked.
I mean, come on now, it's true.
Yeah, that's not too far off. Hey, semi-related. Have you ever seen Of Darths and Droids?
No.
Oh. Of Darths and Droid was a webcomic that went on for a number of years that was essentially a retelling of the Star Wars films, but through the lens of D&D.
Oh, dear.
Let's see if I can find one of these.
You do that. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the good thing. Now, as I showed you guys a few months ago, I was kind of excited for Apple TV's new series Murderbot. And a lot of y'all were telling me, don't watch it, T-shirt, it's crap, read the books instead. But I'm one of those people, like, if I read the books first, I'll definitely be disappointed by the series. So I'm going to watch the series first and then read the books. But the first 2 episodes came out, and I went ahead and picked up Apple TV subscription so I could watch them. And I actually enjoyed Murderbot. It's fun. I was not disappointed at all. But also, since I had Apple TV, it's kind of like, well, what else can I watch on this thing? And I already have every episode of C, so I don't want to rewatch that because I've got it on DVD. So I said, okay, let's try Foundation. Because, it's Isaac Asimov. Everybody's already told me, no, it's horrible, don't watch it. And I'll give you my opinion on it, because there's 2 seasons of Foundation. First off, if you've read the Isaac Asimov books, this ain't that. It is, but it's in very loosely in name only, because whereas the Foundation series kind of takes place over broad swaths of time, this makes it a little bit more personalized and kind of tries to tell you what's going on the individual timeline and all the stuff that's happening in it, and what causes what to happen. But it also eliminates a few other things, such as the main character who's my brain is so fried today. The main character who in the books who is trying to survive, and their reporter sidekick / helper helping them out through everything. Instead, what you get,
I'm sorry, I need to step away for one moment. I hear someone calling me.
Sure. Yeah, Foundation also includes the iRobot books. Yeah. So what we get instead is we get kind of a multi. I don't want to say multi-generational, but it kind of is, since it still takes place over a long period of time, except that they use cryo sleep as their MacGuffin to survive the long passages of time. You do have a little bit of diversity, equity, and inclusion acting, because you have a lot of gender swaps. You have some race swaps. The Empire, who is supposed to be the Emperor, is actually a triumvirate of genetic clones who basically runs the entire empire for years and years and years and years. I think they're like all the way up to like the 17th iteration or something. And it's just been this one guy's clones running everything for all these untold millennia. And he's actually kind of an interesting character, all 3 of him, because it's played by 3 different actors, obviously, and they all kind of have their own little motivations and stuff. And I don't want to give away a whole lot about it, but it's not bad. I mean, as long as you aren't cleaving too closely to the books, well, let's just... Okay. I almost hate to say it this way, but it's like they took ideas from the book, but they didn't really use the book as their guide. They just kind of like somebody laid their hand on the book and said, okay, well, we're going to use this much of the book. Because there's kind of a lot of modern parallels between, certain countries attacking each other. And then, of course, there's the conspiracy that
It sounds like it's more akin to sort of what we saw with a bit of the Starship Troopers movie.
No, the Starship Troopers movie was really, really enjoyable, but it had nothing to do with the book. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's my point.
Yeah. Foundation is just a vehicle for Lee Pace to choose scenery. Well, I mean, Lee Pace chooses scenery very well. He does. I like Lee Pace, and his acting in the show is great. Yeah, Terran Empire's term limits have a rather glaring loophole. Yeah. Well,
the ultimate issue, though, is that the show's on Apple, and I'm sorry, but at the very least, for me, for a lot of people of my generation, anyway, when we think Apple, we don't think of a streaming service. We think of a cell phone. And yeah, a lot of people are into that into that environment. But the problem is, unless you have an Apple device, you're like never gonna go for it.
Well, let me continue a little bit. I'm trying to kind of sell the show in a way because I enjoyed it, despite all the race swapping. There is a little bit of girl bossing to it. Actually, there's kind of a lot of girl bossing to it because of the race swapping and gender swapping. But it's not as annoying as in some other things. It's like, when one of the girls gets into a fight with a big dude, it's kind of she doesn't overpower him and beat him down and all this crap. It's a more believable fight than you can, one of the main characters who is pretty much like Isaac Asimov's like eternal character throughout all of the series is R. Daniil Olivaw, right? Robot Daniil Olivaw, one of the only robots to survive the Robot Wars. He's pretty much in everything. He has been gender swapped. And you find out about their character. You find out more about her in the second season than you do in the first, but she is a really good character. She kind of steals a lot of the show with her acting because she's just kind of good at it. I mean, she has really good lines and stuff like that. I kind of wish they hadn't given it to a Finnish actress. I wish they had kind of given it to an English actress. It would have sounded a little bit better, I think. But, and also I kind of wish she had been just a bit more attractive looking, just because it's just kind of like, it's supposed to be a robot chick who's got like realistic skin and everything on top of there. Why would they make themselves look anything less than just absolutely stunning? But it's got some neat science in it, and kind of the big joke of the whole, both seasons, I would say, is it seems like both seasons are trying to tell you mathematics is cool. Mathematics is awesome. Numbers are cool. Mathematics is awesome. You can do all kinds of awesome things with mathematics and numbers. So, I enjoyed it. I'm not going to say it's going to win any huge awards. Yes, it's got lots of loopholes. Yes, it's got lots of, problems. There's lots of stuff to it that could have been better. But I'm not totally disappointed. Would Isaac Asimov like it? Probably not. But I'm sure he wouldn't mind getting a royalty check. But it ain't bad. It ain't bad. It's not the worst thing. If you get Apple TV, I can definitely recommend. There's at least 3 shows on it that are worth watching. There's C, which I've already talked about, with Jason Momoa. It ran 3 seasons and it was awesome. So far, I really like Murderbot. That's been fun. I mean, there's only 2 episodes, but I'm in for the long haul to see how it is. And yeah, so far, Foundation has been pretty good for the 2 seasons it's run. I'm sure there's other shows, but...
Have you had a chance to check out Monarch?
Monarch? No, not yet. Is it on there?
Oh, yes, Monarch is an Apple Plus show, and
I heard everybody said that was bad.
I gave it an episode. The problem is I just don't really kind of care about the characters too much. Is when it's like, do you want to follow the humans around or do you want to follow Godzilla? The humans,
exactly.
Yeah, and that's the problem. They want to try and do the big shared universe thing, and that's fun and all, but it has to ultimately serve the purpose of the big G, and you need to show them in your show.
Savo, are you talking about Isaac? Yeah, I know Asimov's been dead for a while now. But if he were alive, what would he think? That's what I'm saying.
I bet he'd think this is good bread.
Well, it's like, I'm pretty sure if Frank Herbert was alive and he saw the 2 Dune movies that everybody thinks are so great, he'd probably be going like, the fuck is this? But I don't know. Authors are weird that way. I mean, it's like the Blade Runner movie did not resemble Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep in almost any way at all, but Philip K. Dick actually got to see it before it released in theaters, and he loved the shit out of the movie. So I don't know.
It's ultimately the tricky issue. It's the nature of adaptation.
Yeah.
You're never going to get the 1-to-1 parallel. And
No.
the problem is when we do see attempts to go that way, you would inevitably get the studio interference because some bigwig, some executive doesn't think the long drawn out sequences of talky talk have enough action to them when that's gonna fundamentally underline and define everything your show is trying to set up. Or you have an actor who thinks they're more full of themselves than they realistically are and want more screen time. And it's like, I'm sorry, no, you're a side character.
Interesting thing to note, though. I was talking about the Last of Us season 2, and I'm talking about the flashback episodes and the museum scene and everything else. Right? They got the museum scene like game perfect almost. Like it was so close you could just sit there and do side by side comparisons between the video game and the show, and say that was pretty damn on the spot, right? Well, some of the critical reviews out there are actually lambasting the show for doing this. Whenever they take scenes from the game and then they translate them into the show 1-to-1. Because they say, well, it doesn't show any originality or creativity. That's just, that's just lazy. And I'm just kind of like, are you fucking retarded?
But ultimately, I just want good shows.
Yeah, that's all I want. Is good shows. All right. Let's do a little bit of fan service. No, not that kind of fan service. Keep your top on.
Oh, so in the meantime, I did find at least a page of
Okay. So this is going out to the audience. You got all 7 of you watching. I don't know where my 10 went. I guess you other 3 just had other things to do. We surveyed 100 D&D players, and the most annoying thing at the gaming table is... All right. I want you guys to type your answer in the chat. So is it no deodorant? Is it smoking? Is it cell phones? Or is it calls? Is it arguing with the DM? Or is it bringing unsupervised kids or pets? Uncontrollable flatulence? Rusty chainmail bikinis? I haven't ever seen that happen. I imagine that would be kind of gross. Or loaded dice.
It's smoking.
For me, well, let me see. I've never had a case of loaded dice or rusty chainmail bikinis, so I can't say. Uncontrollable flatulence. We've had players who've had their flatulence problems, and it's annoying. But bringing unsupervised kids is, that's a bad one. Arguing with the DM, yeah, that just kind of happens. Hey, DJ Ronnie G. No deodorant is bad. That's really bad. That's smoking. I haven't usually had a problem with, because usually if we have people who smoke, it's like, hey, go outside and do that.
But that's my point though. It's we gotta stop. We gotta take the breaks. Usually it's like 2 or 3 of the guys all want to go out and they want to go smoke pot, and it's like, we're just getting into this. I was just starting to get the flow of the narrative, and someone's vice had to step in, and now half the table has to leave.
I'm gonna say cell phone, even though I myself am guilty of that.
All right. So for my groups, for the people I've hung out with, and Tabletop Junkie can attest to this. It was an issue for us when we were, 10 years ago when we were playing, because it was still sort of getting into that Pathfinder 3-point-ish era. And it was a combination of that, and everyone just did their character sheet on a laptop. Well, inevitably, it just turned into scrolling Facebook.
And it's the same thing with the cell phones, because I've had the app on my cell phone and just had my character sheet on that. And the temptation to look at something else while you're waiting for your turn or whatever is very... That's why I said, I'm guilty of the cell phone problem too. But I've also mentioned how I was DMing a game and there was a guy, it was his house. I was DMing for him and he was on his cell phone the entire game. Like nonstop. Even when I was sitting there talking to him directly and asking him what he wanted to do or what his character wanted to do, he inevitably still had that fucking phone in his hand.
Now, I shifted my own cell phone habits there to taking notes with the like in-person groups. And so I have like I think 30-page like notebook of here's everything that happened. I have it dated. I could show you everything that happened every single week. And I wrote down, all right, and then this character did this, as though I'm kind of writing a book of it.
Okay. Let's see. DJ Ronnie G says he had a flatulence problem at work. Well, yeah, but this is at the gaming table, bud. Not at work. Savo agrees. Yeah, she would say cell phones. Yeah, I still, yeah, cell phones. Silverlock says uncontrollable flatulence if you can't get away from it. Yeah, I guess. I mean, it depends. I mean, if you're in one of those little... Well, this is the situation. This is the scenario that I find to be horrible when you have the uncontrollable flatulence problem. If you are paying for a room at your friendly local gaming store, because that's a thing now, they will, you have to go and pay for time, and they give you like so many hours. And then, everybody who is at the game has to pay. Usually it's $5 or whatever. And you get to rent the room. So yeah, under that situation, if you're stuck in that tiny room, you've paid $5 just like everybody else, and you have somebody in there who can't stop farting to the point where the air conditioning cannot withstand, the odor, then yeah, that's pretty horrible. Especially if it's a warm summer day. GM smokes, so you can't complain. Also, he always has a bottle of wine to share. Okay. Anyone else out there got one? Come on, let's see your worst. Bring them out. I want to see somebody who has rusty chainmail bikinis. That is the most annoying thing. I've never heard of that.
Oh, I've got one.
What?
The couple.
Oh. Yeah. Okay, that's a real one. Yes, the couple
Who
if
have
they're not
their relationship into the game. It's not enough that they're playing the game; it's that they're playing the game as a couple. Oh, and then it's like the female always has to have like an elf. And
usually
the dude is probably like a dwarf or some like herder kind of muscle dude. Fighter. So it's like, well, why? It's like, well, why does your elf like? You want to be an elf princess, and here's this orc barbarian who just wants to kill people and drink their blood.
Yeah. I've seen worse.
I once had a play group in which we were playing vampire, and he wanted to be a farmer who effed his sheep.
Okay.
She wanted to be a French maid, and they of course had to have their child in the game because we can't have nice things.
The couple that annoys me in a game is the one where she wants to be in the game and she wants to play, but when it's her turn, she doesn't know what to do. So it's a constant case of everybody at the table trying to give her advice, including her spouse, husband, or whatever sitting next to her, trying to coach her on what to do. And I get it when they're new that it can be kind of stupefying, frustrating, and weird and all that. But it's just like after a few game sessions, that shit gets old, man. It's like, at some point you got to learn how to play the goddamn game.
The training wheels have to come off.
Yeah, they do. Magnificent Devil says cell phones also. Yeah. Nothing caused more consistent and constant problems than cell phones. Yeah, I agree. And I'm guilty of it too, so I have to agree. Anybody else got any out there? Just checking. My wife plays the Lady Assassin in every game, regardless of the game. Okay, does she also wear a rusty chainmail bikini, Mal? I mean,
Well, the cell phones got worse with time, especially because now we have everyone's always connected online. And we'll inevitably get the defense of, well, if I need to be able to get a hold of my family, or if an emergency happens, and it's like, guys, you'll be okay. You don't got to be plugged in 24/7. Or, oh my God, put your fucking phone on silent. Holy shit.
Yeah, definitely put your phone on silent at least. Yeah, there's just annoying things about players at the table and everything else. You just can't get away from some of these things. But anyway,
it's basic fucking etiquette. Sorry, I've got a player in one of the games who always seems to have his phone on, like, so we can hear his ringtone every time. And it's like, it's not even a good catchy thing or anything. It's just like some annoying sound. Like, it's like, dude, basic etiquette. Come on, guy. Silent.
All right. Well, okay. This was some news that popped up today. I want to go ahead and get this out of the way because William Sova already talked about it. And, oh, hey, George. Annoyed the other players not coming up with plans. It's always me and it's the same other guy. Yeah, I've seen cases of that where you have like two people who are basically running the whole show and everybody else is just kind of content to follow. Yeah.
Well, there's plans in two ways we could go with this. Are we talking the actual like in-game, how are we going to beat the bad guy? How are we going to get around this trap? Or the who's going to schedule the game?
I think he means like the actual who's going to beat the bad guy in-game thing. But Mouse says, how about the guy who never brings snacks? But eats everyone else's snacks. Well, I've been that guy a few times when I was broke. Not gonna lie.
I've always been kind of lucky on that, and I think it's especially kind of come to light as I've gotten older. As I've matured, it's turned into more of a desire for people to want to put on for others. So one group I go play with, who's like the one of the groups that I go and play with, they love to like put on the food for us. So it's like, hey, this week the guy went out and he was baking pizzas on his oven. So everyone got their own custom pizza. Tell him what you want. Another group, actually went and paid for pizzas. Actually, I think last time I did the same thing too. So it's everyone wants to contribute there, which is kind of nice. So,
I mean, that's the thing. I was in one gaming group where literally like a different person each week would take turns bringing the stuff. And for mine, I decided on an authentic rustic medieval sandwich. So like I literally had like slices of meat and pickles and all this other stuff, and people would just grab the nice fresh bread and build their own sandwiches and stuff. But it was all using homespun sort of ingredients that would be authentic to the period. So because it was a D&D game, so
yeah.
The player who's socially blind trying to play the most charismatic person in the that depends. That's a weird case. That's always a case of should you that's a topic of like should you reduce character interaction to a dice roll, or should you actually make the player role play it out? And I had one guy who was at the table and all he wanted to do was roll dice for everything. I mean, like character interactions, plans, plots, anything that was a skill check. He wanted to roll the dice for it. He never wanted to role play for it. And then I had players at the table who wanted to role play for everything. So,
But is that your fault for not setting the type of game you want, or is that for him for just ignoring it?
it was his first time at the gaming table with us, and he didn't know any better. He was just running. He was just playing his character the way he knew how to play the game. So we had to kind of retrain him, and just like, okay, dude, we don't roll dice for every single thing, or you don't roll a dice until I ask you to. You know, kind of became the thing. It's like you actually have to role play with us. We don't want to just, if all we want to do is show up and roll dice at each other all day, you know, we might as well be playing a board game, or we might as well be on our computers. So, you know, part of the role playing game is to play a role, to role play. I mean, at least that's my feeling on it. I mean, am I too harsh?
No, not at all. Like, that is the point. It's a role playing game. We're here to play roles. Like, if you just want to roll dice, war games are perfectly acceptable for that.
Yeah. Board games are even better for that. I mean, you think about it, they're actually perfect for that. You know, you want to go on you just want to do dungeons and dungeon crawl. There are lots of really good board games out there that can scratch that itch for you and do it in a way that is almost as much fun as a TTRPG.
Hero Quest is perfect.
I was going to say Massive Darkness too, but yeah, that's another one. You bought veggies with ranch dressing to my last in real life game. See, I would love that, George. That's my kind of snacks right there, man. Give me some celery sticks and carrots with some ranch dressing, man, and I'm in hog heaven, dude. You do a complete supper every game themed to the adventure. Wow, Mal, that's like, wow. Can I come game with you sometime?
I'm game.
Yeah. Role playing is a good way to learn social skills. Make them role play it. It will be. Yes, I agree.
And it's always the most socially awkward people who want to play role playing games.
Well, that's okay. It's just, is it the most socially awkward people who want to play the charisma god? And I understand the appeal to that too. I'm not the strongest man in the world, but I inevitably play characters who are super strong, super buff, super big badass, because I am not that in real life, and I like to play against my own type. So to me, it seems like it's okay if you have somebody who is socially erturdered and wants to play, you know, the charisma god paladin or whatever. You know, that's okay. So you're okay when the dice never hit the game. Okay, yeah, see. Game nights are our get together. My friends are my family of joy. Ah, okay. And eating together is part of the fun. Yeah, I agree.
See,
I agree. I wish more people felt like that.
I'm starting to think that ideally, for social settings, you role play it out, but then when things could go bad is when it's the appropriate time to roll the dice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, yeah, if you have a player who wants to, you know, use his bard to seduce the archdemon, it's kind of like, you know, I don't really know how to resolve this as a GM other than to make you roll the dice, unfortunately.
I don't care how many 20s you roll, you're not fucking the seductress demon.
Yeah, well, I mean, no, actually, he probably is. It's just on whose terms.
All right, fine. You're not fucking the pit demon.
Well, I mean, he probably is once again, but the D20 rolls determine who's going to be on top and who's going to be on bottom. You wish you could do the same thing during our Sunday games too. Too bad we're all over on. Yeah. Being online has its limitations, but at the same time, Mal, I've shown up to many of our Sunday game sessions in my underwear. You don't want to see me doing that in real life. And no, I'm not going to shoot video of that the next time we play. Don't ask. All right. So let's see some other fun stuff. Okay. William Sova already brought this up earlier. I want to go ahead and bring this out because this is something I wanted to talk about, but we saw this earlier today. Got to share a screen. But yes, this is from Palladium. Immediate release, May 19th. The Lost Rifts video game is being reforged. So,
I was
yeah.
this was ever a thing.
Yeah. Once upon a time, they thought their dream had come true when Rift's Promise of Power was announced for the N-Gage mobile gaming platform. Nokia developed an award-winning, top-rated video game that fans couldn't wait to get their hands on. Shortly after Rift's Promise of Power was released, that dream was dashed when Nokia announced the N-Gage platform hadn't performed well, would no longer be supported. I'm sorry, I'm coughing.
The Nokia N-Gage was such a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
It was this weird taco-shaped phone, and you had to remove the battery pack in order to be able to swap out the cartridges for your games.
Mm-hmm. But now, apparently, they are doing it for the PC and console platforms, which is what it should have been to begin with. You want to finish reading it for me, or so I can cough?
Oh, no, I was just seeing, I saw Westland there, and I was like, is that... Then realizing, oh, that's in Michigan. Palladium Books is thrilled to announce a backer kit crowdfunder campaign to remaster and re-release the trailblazing Rift's Promise of Power tactical role-playing video game for the PC and other platforms. It's a great game that deserves to be played by gamers everywhere. It truly brings Rifts to life and is so well done that anyone can enjoy it, whether they know anything about tabletop RPG that inspired it or not. Rift fans will love it, said Rift creator Kevin T-shirt.
Bieda.
Thank you.
Yes.
That of Palladium Books. Originally made by Nokia, a mobile game for the N-Gage, Rift's Promise of Power, garnered rave reviews and won Nokia's Best of Show at E3. It continues to be praised for its faithful adaptation and the best-selling tabletop Rifts RPG for many hours of play. Challenging adventure storyline, fun tactical combat, and vast roster of player classes, enemies, and allies. Over the past 20 years, Rift's Promise of Power has slipped into the stuff of legend, coveted by many but unavailable. It is our pleasure to make it available to an expanded audience, new and old.
Yep. So apparently this is going on BackerKit as a crowdfunding pre-launch, and it's going to feature 30 plus hours of gameplay on the main storyline, or more for completionists. Meaning side quests, increased aspect ratio, which it would need to be on a PC. The Glitter Boy, Coalition Grunt, and other portraits restored to their iconic likeness. 17 playable classes, including the Glitter Boy, Burster, Leyline Walker, Cyber Knight, Juicer, Mind Melter, Cyborg, Headhunter, Crazy, and Mystic. Gain allies. Tactical turn-based combat on scenic battle maps. More than 50 enemy types. 100 weapons, spells, and psionics. Multiple locations from Rifts, North America, England, and the new German Republic, and China. And physical rewards. Stretch goals to unlock a high-definition update to the art. All new modern soundtrack. Ooh, that would be cool. Support for extra platforms, including consoles and mobile devices, and much more. Oh, bing. I'm hitting the pre-launch on that one. So, hang on real quick. Let me put that up for you guys. Because I'm actually excited about it.
It's just good to finally see some positive game news for a change. Because, I mean, look at everything we've been seeing going on around. They're talking about Borderlands 4 being $80 and really, let's be honest, it's going to be higher. Oh God, there was the Bungie story, which was actually really big.
Oh yeah, we can get to that one too, I'm sure. But yeah, I agree.
I was say out of our wheelhouse, we did have a WotC story.
We did. We have a lot of stories, and we almost have an hour. But let's see. Yeah, you roll dice when the outcome is uncertain. That's why combat gets more dice rolls, because combat is necessarily chaotic. Yeah, and like I've said before, if combat was just another skill, then why do we not just do another skill check for combat? Why do we have to have such complex tactical rules for combat? Because all of our other skills, no matter how complex they may be, come down to a dice roll. And I mean, we're talking things like blacksmithing, which, if you've ever seen all the different processes that go into making a weapon, or even just forging just a regular piece of steel, that would require many, 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 many checks. Did you, how are you building this? Are you, what processes are you going to use? And then did you put all the right ingredients together? Did you get the forge up to the right temperature? Did you heat the metal up the right way? Are you quenching? Did you beat it out properly? Did you stretch, just watch an episode of Forged in Fire.
We could do all that, or we could just, roll one dice.
Yeah. But you get to combat, it's like people wouldn't want to roll one dice because they wouldn't want to just be, okay, guess what? The monsters rolled higher than you, so you're all defeated. That would piss people off really quick. Right?
But
Gator is, yes, Snacks. Yes, Gator is fucking the pit demon. Yes, he totally is. The voice changer freaked you out? House rule is not to roll for seduction until the GM is at least 50% through the alcohol present. Oh.
See, I wonder if I can find that clip. Guardbro has a great approach to this.
Mm-hmm.
You don't just roll to seduce. He leans in and he just Guardbros it up. Go ahead, seduce me.
Seduce me, yeah. Kind of doesn't work when you do it that way, though, unless you really want to jump into character and. Anyway, yes, we do have a little story concerning Wizards of the Coast. So, WizKids created a line of Baldur's Gate 3 miniatures, and they were selling them for $50. This is what they were supposed to look like.
I would point out, this is not the first time they've done these high-end little mini collections like this, because they sure did it for Curse of Strahd, and back then, I bought them. Mm-hmm. I paid the overcharged price for them then.
Daniel, you really need to hop in here, man. You're going to miss some fun stuff. So this is what they were supposed to look like, and they look great, don't they?
Oh yeah, yeah. Like they're looking pretty good. You see Gale's eyebrows are in place.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm a little surprised they included withers.
Yeah, I was too. But they're there, and unfortunately, this is what we got. I got a better picture than what you got there, buddy. You can put that down. I took a little time out to screenshot this because miniatures are kind of my wheelhouse. Oh. So this is what you actually got if you paid $50.
See, as far as WizKids quality goes, Gale is passable, but he's like, and maybe Estinian. Everyone else
Asterion?
Is awful. Yes.
No, he's low tier, low quality Asterion.
But by WizKids quality, he's passable.
For $50, you'd pay $50 for this.
I wouldn't. I'm just saying that by their standards, that is a passable one. Oh shit! I can't show that.
Looks like shit to me.
Yes, it does. It totally does. It looks like absolute poo-poo.
But Baldur's Gate 3 also looked the same to me. Just another garbage modern D&D product. I was not impressed like some of these people were about how Baldur's Gate 3 was so amazing. I mean, didn't get my money.
Well, I enjoyed it, but yeah, the product on the left is what it was supposed to look like, and the product on the right is what actually showed up. Yeah, they did. It's like, let me copy your homework, but don't make it too obvious.
No, like I said, that's nailed it. That's nailed it 100%.
Oh yeah.
Meanwhile, you got to stop and see what 3D printers, 3D designers are making. This is one such example for you.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow. Wow, that's nice. For $50 USD, I would want all the minis to be able to peg the bear. Damn, that looks good though.
That mini looks a lot better. Yeah, I mean, I've got one of my regular players in my Sunday game. He owns a media marketing company and has several 3D printers, 3D resin printers in his office. The 3D, the minis that he's made, just kind of goofing around with Hero Forge and then printing himself in his office, are better than the stuff that WizKids was putting out there. Like substantially better.
Ooh, this is printed in that color?
No, these are someone going after the fact and painting it.
Oh.
But you can
Not
still
bad.
see how well it turns out for having painted. But yeah, it's
I've painted.
Else, I will. If nothing else, I will always look to WizKids as a confirmation that, well, at least I don't paint that bad.
Yeah. Well, I used to be a Mage Knight player, so I'm well familiar with repainting their stuff.
I did love Mage Knight figurines.
You didn't?
I did.
I did
loved
too.
The figurines.
Yes.
I actually kind of thought the game was okay too, but it was just way too expensive to be random.
We played the shit out of that game. We loved it. I had almost every figure at one point, and then they decided to screw themselves because the first thing they did was they said, "Okay, we just released the new Mage Knight stuff. Now we're going to halt everyone from using all the older materials," which immediately cut a bunch of my players out of the tournament stuff. So they lost interest, and I guess the rest of the world did too, because Mage Knight died pretty shortly after that.
I loved the like world and lore behind Mage Knight. I thought it was a fairly unique setting. I liked the way it was set up. I loved my blade golems. Those were one of my favorite actual figurines. Was the blade golem. And I think I still have like a Chaos Mage and Barber Surgeons and stuff laying around somewhere. But the thing that got to me with Mage Knight was, I think either A, they would have had to bring the cost down a little bit, or they needed to maybe increase the mix a little bit to where you could get a little bit more for your money. Because Mage Knight became pay to win real fast. Because
yes, it did.
It was just who bought enough to get a Chaos Mage,
or who had the Storm Golem.
Yep.
And we actually came up with a lot of ways to break certain things. I mean, I broke a lot of metas back in the day just by using some silly ass commons and things like that, and some of my players hated me for it. Yeah. But I was. And then
they started doing like the giant figures, which I thought like the giant Shadow Dragon was cool and all that, but it's like, first off, this is just a pointless money grab.
Yeah, at that point, it pretty much became pay to win. And on top of that, it's like the later editions, like the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, which they only had one horseman per box per case, forcing you to buy at least a minimum of 4 boxes to possibly get all 4. That was ridiculous because you were paying like I don't remember, like close to $300 per case. So yeah, that was pretty rough. And I managed to get 3 of the 4 horsemen, I think. No, I did manage to get all 4 of them. But I had to actually buy a few of them off of eBay for scalper prices. But hey, you know, when you're obsessed, you know, plus they had all the little treasures and stuff like that that changed the way that characters played and all that stuff. And
I never made it that far. I played in the first edition, and that's it. Really, Mage Knight for me was something kind of cool to play while I was waiting for a seat to open up and play more Magic.
Yeah, at that point I had pretty well sworn off of Magic, so we started playing crack.
I was an Urza Cycle monster. that was my thing. I was raised on, you know, first draw step is the late game.
Well, let's see. What else do we got? We got Rifts. We got WotC. Let me roll back through everything that we got today.
Well, you know, just be happy you didn't pick up Yu-Gi-Oh!, which has turned into a meta of turn 3 is considered late game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like I said, that's what Urza Cycle Magic was when I was playing in the Urza Cycle, and you got into the tournament decks. Now, you could play. You had a lot of really good decks for casual play. But the meta, I mean, I had 2 or 3 decks at one point in time that could either win by the second turn, win on the first turn, or by the third turn you were locked down. It may take me a little bit while longer to actually finish you off and win, but by the second or third turn, it was just a foregone conclusion. You were just sitting around waiting on me. I was locking everything you had down so it couldn't untap, and you were just waiting on me to get enough mana built up to brain geyser you for 400 cards.
Remember those days?
Yeah. And the game may technically last 10 turns or 8 turns or something, but it was over on turn 2 when you weren't able to untap anything after that with my Storm Cauldron or whatever.
Yeah. George asks, how is the Magic TTRPG setting? Well, it's by Wizards of the Coast, and
well,
I mean, ain't it basically Dungeons and Dragons now?
Yes.
Isn't it Ravnica?
Yeah, it is Ravnica.
Well, no, there's been multiple.
Theros.
So, yeah, Theros, Ravnica. I don't think they did Kaladesh. No, they didn't get around to that one. There was a free giveaways PDFs they put out that were some samples of a few of the different settings as well. And of course, our favorite Strixhaven was also one of their Magic settings.
Oh God.
Personally, I was a big fan of Ravnica. That book coming out got me back to 5e. So that one has a little bit of a soft spot for me. I like the idea of the Magic Guilds. I liked the lore, the mythos, a lot of the stuff they put into that setting that made it work for me in some ways that if I had been around for Eberron.
We lost him.
Look, I got a place to point in there because this is a bee in my bonnet when it comes to Magic. I keep wondering if he's back or not.
I don't think he is. I think he's there. You are.
When did you lose me?
I don't know. Your mouth was wide open, so.
You were talking about Ravnica and how you liked Ravnica with the Magic Guilds and stuff like that, but
that brought you back or something.
Yeah, that brought you back to 5e when they put that book out.
Yep, that brought me back to 5e. It was what I was wanting to get around to running with and play some games set in that world. I had put a lot of work into making a setting for that. I never quite got that one to the table, but nevertheless, it got me back. It worked for me in a lot of ways that Eberron would have worked if I was around when that initially hit. Because it's essentially your kind of steampunk Magic City.
I only liked Theros, and that was because it brought Minotaurs into D&D 5th edition. So
I'm just going to say like this:
Theros.
If I had my channel,
Theros,
like if I had my channel back from when any of these settings came out.
Uh-huh.
Wizards of the Coast would have been on intelligence as a dump stat every single time they pumped out a Magic-based D&D setting that was not Dominaria or an Oriental Adventures that was set in Kamigawa. You have two fleshed out worlds. I mean, with Dominaria, you got a decade or more. You might have 15 years of ongoing lore, unbroken, novels and everything else to pull from. In Kamigawa, you have an entire setting that's relatively unique, especially for kind of like a Japanese, Chinese, Oriental type setting, that also has novelization already built behind it. They both already have nostalgic built-in player bases, especially Dominaria. And it's like, you people have this IP you're sitting on, and yet you keep going to the most ridiculous, retarded, and unbeloved Magic settings ever. Like, go back to when you had all the people you lost and give them something to be nostalgic for. And then try not to let people like Mackenzie Darmas come in and screw it up.
Well,
At this point, one of the best settings they should see about pushing a book out for is Tarkir. Tarkir is incredibly popular, especially when it came out, 13 years ago. That initial release, it was massive. It is the setting you want to have if you want to be about nothing but dragons. Oh my god, all the dragons.
You guys are both wrong, because peak Oriental Adventures for D&D was Rokugan.
I agree, but Wizards of the Coast, I'm actually running 3.5 edition Oriental Adventures in Rokugan right now on Sundays. That's my Sunday game right now. We just recently switched. I agree with you, but Wizards doesn't own Rokugan anymore.
No.
From what I understand, they've divested of it. L5R is its own thing. So they can't go back to that as Oriental Adventures. They can use Kamigawa.
Yeah, they can.
And Kamigawa is... I like Kamigawa. I think it's a good setting. It's got enough flavor in it for unique classes and stuff to sell the D&D crowd on. It was well enough received as a Magic set.
But then they went and updated it and turned it into Jade Punk.
Wait, I missed this updated part. Did they reprint Kamigawa and screw it up?
Yeah, about 5 years ago, they did a return to Kamigawa. But that said, currently Edge Studios, or Fantasy Flight Games, has Legend of the Five Rings.
Oh no nobody's playing it. Fantasy Flight Games just gets the good IPs and then manages to screw them up every time. Like, look what they did with Warhammer 3rd edition. It's like, nobody liked that.
Oh, that reminds me. I was talking with a common nerd the other day. He wants to run one of the FFG Warhammer games systems. I think it's one of the 40K ones, Rogue Trader.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to let you know about that. So maybe we can play a game.
I have Space Marine, so I don't have Rogue Trader, but I have Space Marine.
Well, the tabletop.
Yeah, I know. They interlock. I know. Okay, so Daniel, we put this up earlier and we were surveying the audience. And audience, you're still welcome to chime in on this one. I was curious what you thought about this one. So, the most annoying thing at the gaming table, is it no deodorant, smoking, cell phones or calls, arguing with the DM, bringing unsupervised kids and pets, or pets, I should say, uncontrolled flatulence, rusty chainmail bikinis, or loaded dice?
It's absolutely none of those. I mean, several of those would just get you excused from my table anyway, so they wouldn't be annoying anymore. But the correct answer is missing. The correct answer is players who don't know their damn abilities for their character. That's the number one. Players who don't know the damn abilities for their character. That's the number one thing. Sit down at my table. It's like, I'm going to play a wizard. It's like, well, do you know what any of your spells do, or how many of them you get a day, or which ones you have prepared? It's like, oh, I want to use this. It's like, really, you want to use that? Because that's an 8th level spell in your 3rd level. I'll bet you want to use it. Oh, you're a druid and you don't understand that when you wild shape, you can't cast spells anymore without a special feat? Yet you want to turn into a bat and drop drop flaming spheres on people. Like, know your crap. I got a whole world to run.
Yeah. Now, I will say one thing. As dumbed down as it is in 5th edition for how they handle Druid Wild Shape and how Wild Shape works, it actually works better than the 3.5 version of it, because the 3.5 version of it means you got to sit down and figure out all the crap for your new Wild Shape, which means like sitting down and either building it all up ahead of time or sitting there and wasting time on the fly. But I think the 5th edition way of doing it, where it's just like, you just immediately become whatever the animal is in the book, and as soon as you lose that animal's hit points, you revert. Make sample,
Yeah, I mean, there's some of that with 3rd edition. What I always said is, like, first off, if you're playing a druid, you should have already researched all this and know my primary tanky combat transform or whatever. In most other cases, you're only really going to have a problem with the whole, getting the rules for my wild shape thing or whatever in unique situations. Because when you turn into a bat to go fly reconnaissance or something, really the only thing that matters is that you're a bat and you can see in the dark and you're small. That's really all that matters, unless you fly into a place and it suddenly turns into like a combat encounter, or there's something on the other side of that door unexpected that makes those other bat stats meaningful. But when I turned into a mouse to go sneak into the bandit lair and spy on people, I don't really need all the mouse statistics and extra hit die and everything worked up.
Unless you get hit or something, in which case,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Unless something untoward happens, the idea of I turn into a mouse and run through the crack in the door to go spy on the bandits is not for you to go in and have, Ricky Tikki Tavi attack the leader of the Cobras. It's for you to run in there and be unseen and sit in a corner and eat cheese and listen to them, and then run back out and them to ignore you because you're just a rat in the lair. That's what I'm saying, is that the only things that really matter, unless something really goes sideways, is I'm small and I'm sneaky and I look like a mouse.
I've never heard of rusty chainmail bikinis.
I've never heard of that one. Smoking, I think, needs to be a little bit more thoroughly defined, because I have no problem with smoking at the table if we're all decked out, decided to make a party out of it, and we're sitting out there in our 1920s finest on the porch, smoking a cigar and drinking whiskey, playing Call of Cthulhu. If you're lighting up a cigarette, then you need to take your ass outside. If you're actually lighting, and if you're sitting there smoking a bunch of dope, it's just like alcohol at the table. If you can't handle it, don't do it.
Well, the problem,
because I don't care. Here, drink all you want to, just don't get so drunk you mess up my game.
Well, so as I mentioned earlier, the problem I have is half my players want to stop. They want to go out to like the car and hotbox before they come back in. I'm sorry, I certainly don't do that anymore. It's been far too long.
Mm-hmm. You're a civilized man now. You're a working man.
Oh, exactly. If I get injured on the job, I get tested on the spot.
Yeah. Same here.
Also,
it's like
it made me. Also, it makes me stupid. I could not DM. I could not play.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big fan of it anymore.
Right. Oh, anyway, like I said, it's just that was just something fun. I thought the audience would enjoy that. But yeah. Space 1999 has graphic novels too, Silverlock? I didn't know that. There you go. And that's a very weird and different setting than anything I've ever seen before. So, and it was a good one too. It's a tough game. But anyway,
Christopher Lee was in the show.
Huh?
Christopher Lee was in the show.
Space 1999?
Yes.
I don't think you're thinking of. It's not the same. Oh, wait. What am I thinking of? Hang on a minute. Space 19. We're talking about the old. The old. You know what I'm thinking of? God, what the hell was the name of that game where it's basically the Brits and their ships are on Mars and they have lift wood and they actually duke it out with Martians and shit. I think it was Mayfair Games that originally put it out. Damn it, I can't remember what it was. Space 1899, I think, actually. Yeah, Space 1899.
Yeah, there's that.
Not Space
And then
1999.
I'm talking about. I brought up the sci-fi show.
Yeah, the sci-fi show was good. I liked that. But now I was thinking of Space 1889, which was the Victorian era spacefaring that was made by GDW. Yeah, that was fun. It was different and it was difficult too.
I've heard it mentioned in passing, but I've never actually played it.
Yeah, that's Space 1999. Yeah.
That's Christopher Lee.
Yep, there you go. Yep. And Martin Landau. Yeah, Martin Landau. Yeah. I was getting my spaces confused. Space 1999 versus Space 1889. And I believe there actually was a Space 1999 role-playing game, too, if I don't recall correctly. But there's a damn role-playing game for everything out there now. So
That's true.
But anyway, guys, we've all been at it almost an hour and 30 minutes. Shall we close down for the night?
Oh, let's do
Give
it.
my voice a rest. All right. Sorry about the coughing fit earlier, folks. I'm still getting over this stuff, and hopefully by Saturday I'll be in fine form. Just to tell you guys what's on the horizon, obviously we've got a show on Saturday. I'm hoping the Common Nerd will make it on that one.
I'll believe him otherwise.
Yep. I'm guessing that there will be a Sunday game with Grim. And hopefully next Tuesday morning will be the return of Dungeons and Discussions at 9 a.m. So I'll need people for that show and people to show up at 9 a.m. So all you guys out there in the UK and parts of the non-US who are up early and want to, I should say up late and want to hang out with us, it'll be me and Grim and whoever else we can con into getting on the show and having discussions about questions that you give us or situations in games that we think of. Yeah, there you go. Modifius came out with, I knew it. I knew such a thing existed. Yeah, it's about the moon gets blasted. Yeah, I remember that one, Silverlock. I've got a few episodes of it. What is it? The Guardian of Peary is actually one of my favorite episodes. Yeah, Space 1889. Yeah, I got it. I got my shit. I mean, my brain may be a little bit fried, but I know what I'm talking about. I just don't always remember the names anymore. All right. So, join us on Saturday when hopefully we'll have the Common Nerd and who knows who else. Because last Saturday was a blast, and well, I hope this one will be too. Till then, y'all take care.
Peace.